Happy weekend, everybody. I thought I'd put together a real quick video on where I think the market is and what's going on. And this is going to be really kind of seat of the pants. I'm not got a script written, so it might be a little bumpy. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get started. First thing is I'm not a financial advisor and I'm not promoting any kind of trades or anything like that. Sometimes people will ask me about trades and they ask me where my entries are and exits and stops and all that stuff. If I was going to do something like that, I would get to be a financial advisor and I'd do something like Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett would charge you 1% of your entire portfolio to even get started, and then he would take 25% of your winnings. And so, I'm charged 12 bucks a month, which really isn't that much, and I'm thinking about making that go up some because I'm spending quite a bit of time and my scope has changed a little bit. So I'm thinking about making that 15 bucks, but that won't affect anybody that subscribes now. And I'll give everybody plenty of time when that does happen. But if you had $1 million portfolio, you're going to pay me quite a bit of money, like 10 grand a year, just to even look at it. And then 25% of the stake, if you make 10% return, then that's quite a bit of money. So, anyways, I'm not getting into that right now, and I don't manage anybody's portfolio but mine. But if I do, it's going to be real expensive, and you might not want to use me anyways. So, anyway, let me go ahead and close this out. Um, the next thing is here's how to get me on social media. Everybody probably already knows that. So there's my Substack, rollsr.substack.com, and then there's my Twitter account too. So let's go ahead and get started. If you watched my characters, I'm really going to talk about two characters' perspectives today. I'm going to talk about Ivy, she's a long-term investor, and then I'll talk about Sam, who's a swing trader. And if you haven't guessed, and I joke about it sometimes, I act like it slips, but I really plan that. If you watch those, I'm really my favorite my favorite way to trade is swing trading, and that's my favorite. And so I'm like Sam in there. And what I'll do is sometimes when I'll exit trades, I'll put some examples in there after I'm already done, not for people to follow me, but just to see what Sam's doing. Also, I try to be like Ivy, but I have a hard time staying in and doing long-term investing. That's something I'm trying to get better at, and that character will hopefully make me a little bit better. I think Ivy's probably the smartest one of the bunch, and so I'm trying to not only learn myself better, but explain how you can use my stuff to help with long-term investing. Let's look at let's look at what's been going on with ES here, and this is a 30-minute chart on ES, and this is what's happened in the last little bit. So ES comes down, and if you don't know, ES is the futures version of the S&P 500 index, and it runs 24 hours a day during the week, and it shuts down on the weekend, most of the weekend. So I was watching ES, and I saw the dark pools looked like they were selling this. They sold that down. They look like they sold that down too. And so I was expecting at least to go down to the 200-day moving average, which is this pink line. And guess what? We came down and kissed it. And I got really excited. And if you watched me, I think on Robert Bayland's site, I bought some futures right here, and then I wrote them up, and it was pretty big. It was pretty big for me. It might not be big for other folks, but I'm pretty sure I got enough to get my wife's birthday present this month. So that's going to be really nice. And I won't have to worry about coughing up money because the market coughed it up for me. So I bought down here at the 200-day moving average and I sold it, I don't remember, right around in here somewhere. I didn't wait for that to spike up. I was looking for a safe exit. So we come up and it just shoots up into no man's land and it quits. And so I don't like it when it does that. It really needs to hit resistance. When it doesn't hit resistance, then I don't like it. So I come down here, and then you get this big pink box, and the dark pools were very active at the end of the month in this box. They did about $200 billion from what I watch, which is about double what their normal day is. Some funds only trade at the end of the month. I would really not like that much if that's all I could do. That seems like a real pain. But this was really big right here. Lots of trades in here. And then guess what? I was expecting them to like buy into this dip here, and I didn't really see that. But they don't always buy into the dip. Sometimes they don't do that. Well, anyway, we get down here, and if you were watching Ivy, Ivy was real interested in the 200-day moving average. Then we come down here and pop it, and then we come up, and then we start creeping under that, and then that's when I talked about Ivy doing one thing and getting worried about it and watching another thing. Uh, what Ivy did was she stopped out right here. She gave up and stopped out, and she thought, well, maybe we're heading down even more. And I gave everybody some more downside targets of where things are possible. This was kind of my next area, about 38.50, and then under that, it gets a whole lot worse, and you've got a gigantic range here from around 30, 35 something to 36 something. And if we go down there, and I'm not saying we are not, if we go down there, I'm going to be looking at this a whole lot more, but I don't really care about it just yet. I care more about what's going on up here. And so does Ivy. One thing I said that Ivy was looking at is she said, well, sometimes ES hits that 200-day moving average, but SPY wants to do the same thing. They're best friends, SPY and ES, and they like to do the same stuff a lot. They play the same game. And so I said, Ivy said, well, maybe SPY wants to come down and hit the 200-day moving average too. And so we gapped down this day, and, well, golly, I was right, or Ivy was right, whoever you want to put that character on. But that usually happens. Well, it doesn't usually happen. It happens sometimes, and so that's something to watch out for. So we came down and we hit the SPY 200-day moving average, which is this pink line too. And I told everybody this, all my paid subscribers. I told everybody I was watching for this. So please don't get surprised that Ivy got long again. She was expecting this to happen. She didn't like it that we went under the 200-day moving average on ES. And then she jumped right back in, and you're like, what the heck? Why is she doing that? Well, golly, I told everybody that this could happen, so please don't be surprised that we went down to the SPY 200-day moving average and went back up. And then Ivy gets right back in at the 200-day moving average. And then you think, well, that's just a big surprise. Well, no, it's not. I told everybody that. Well, anyway, I'll quit saying that. So Ivy gets back in here, and then the markets just start shooting up like crazy. Now, I said I think that this is kind of a short covering rally, and I'm expecting it to come back down. If you think that I know exactly what's going to happen at the market, I really don't. I'm a pretty good guesser. I'm a good guesser, and I've been watching this stuff for a while, and I've done quite a bit of training, so I'm a good guesser, and I might be right 70 or 80% of the time. One of my buddies says I'm right 90% of the time. I don't really keep track of that. All I know is I'm right more than I'm wrong. And if you're right more than you're wrong, and you don't bleed down when you're wrong, then you make big money in the stock market. That's a big secret. If you got a little bit of an edge and you know how to get out of your bad trades quick, then you make tons of money. So that's some free advice on Saturday. So Ivy gets right back in here, and then everybody says, well, this is gonna, they turn the bears up on Twitter. We're gonna go down. It's the end of the world. Well, it doesn't look like it's the end of the world yet. It might be on Monday, but it's not today. So Ivy gets back in at 39.50. 39.50. And she's up 100 ES points. That's a whole lot. I think it's about 2% if you do it that way. I don't really say how Ivy trades. 2.5, 2.57. That's really good. So Ivy's sitting pretty right now on her new tranche. Now she stopped out when she got nervous right here, and then she got right back in. And you think, well, I can't do that. Well, yeah, you can. You can get, if you're doing futures, you can get in and out a million times and just pay your brokerage fees. And then you don't draw down and just watch it go down forever, straight down into hell. Don't do that. Stop out when you're wrong. Get back in. And if they go back down, get back out. And if they go back up, get back in. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. There's no rule that says you've got to stay in the market. Now, if you've only got $1,000 and you put all your $1,000 in, then sometimes you got to wait for that money to settle. But Ivy doesn't do that. She doesn't put all her money in, and she can do it every other day, or 3 times a day sometimes if she wants to. So she's up quite a bit, and if this is one ES contract and you're up 100 points, each point's $50. So that's like $5,000 she would be up on one ES contract, which is pretty good. All right, so that's where we are on ES, and then somebody's going to say, well, Rolls never told me about an upside target. Well, this is the 20-day moving average. I'm expecting some resistance there. That's a pretty big resistance. It might come back down, and I kind of hope it does. And Ivy does too. She wants to put another tranche in. She wants to see some more support hold, like a daily Keltner or something like that. She wants to see a daily Keltner hold. She wants to see it hit resistance, and then see support hold, and then maybe go back up again and get another tranche. And then if it goes down, and if it starts going down, real far, she'll jump out of that tranche just like it's nothing. She doesn't care. She's not like that. She doesn't believe she has to be right and just dies and loses $50,000. She's not going to do anything like that. So this is a good upside target for 40.68.50 right here at the 20-day moving average. That's going to click down a little bit on Monday because every day that clicks down some. Then we got another upside target here of 41.62, which is the daily Keltner top, and then the weekly Keltner is up even higher. And then if you start doing fibs, then you got some real neat fibs way up here, all the way to 44.65. And I'm not going to teach fibs today. There's plenty of people that are a lot better at Elliott Wave and fibs than me. I just do real simple ones. And there used to be a really great site, the Fibonacci Queen. I forget her name off the top of my head, but she has some good stuff, good training. And you could probably do a month on her site. Now, I'm not saying to do that. I'm saying you might want to do that, and then you could learn how to do real easy fibs, and she's a pretty good teacher. All right, let's look at one more thing here. Let's look at something that Sam was looking at on Friday. Sam was looking at swing trades, and Sam and me both were in some swing trades on Friday, and we did pretty good actually. And then you say, well, why are you getting in? If you don't think the dark pools are buying, why are you doing that? Well, I don't see them selling either, so they're kind of neutral. And if the dark pools are neutral, and then we're hitting support, then Sam's gonna get in and go. The Dave the day trader, he doesn't care about any of that stuff. He just looks at levels and goes from level to level. Sam he doesn't quite work that way. He wants to make sure that the dark pools aren't selling. It's even better if they're buying, which I don't think they are right now. It's even better if they're buying. But if they're not selling and we're hitting support, Sam's probably going to jump into a few things. And he did. And he doesn't play a bunch of the popular stocks. He likes obscure stocks that nobody's really looking at, that the institutions play. They're a little bit more reliable. He was looking at, and I was too. I was talking to one of my buddies on Friday about NRG. I thought it's hitting support, and it looked like it could go up today. And that was on Friday. And it did. It went up. And so if you looked at this is kind of fake. There was only a little bit of trades down there, but you probably could have got in right about here on Friday, easy, and then sold this stuff to here, and that's a 4% gain. That's pretty good for a swing trade. That's pretty good for a swing trade in one day. So this is an example. This isn't something. If you look at a kind of a big chart here, this isn't anything at the highs. If this isn't topping out like Tesla or a semiconductor company that are still up at the highs. This thing's sitting at the lows, and it's been down at the lows for a long time. And when it's going flat like this at the lows, kind of what I think and what Sam thinks is that they might be accumulating here. And we got a nice little spring here and then a jump up. Now, is that going to keep going up forever? I have no idea. And I actually didn't trade it, but I looked at it in the morning and I kind of got busy. Sometimes people think I sit and watch it charts all day long, and I really don't do that, and I don't like doing it. I just look sometimes and try to, I don't have a whole lot of time sometimes during the day, so I'll just look sometimes and look for things that are interesting, or maybe I'll get in a day early and draw down a little bit before I draw up. But this is an example of one of the swing trades at the lows that I think is going up. And there's a whole lot of other things that I'm looking at with this. And you think, well, how did he find this? Well, I can't teach that in a blog for $15 a month. That might be something I do later, and in a little bit different way, is to teach some of these things I learned at Flow Trade, but it's too complicated for a 15-minute video or whatnot. This is another one that I'm kind of looking at. I I don't like it, but this one's also at the lows. This is Silvergate, and this thing moves a lot, and I really don't like things that moves a lot, and I don't want anybody to take this trade. I'm just giving an example of some of the stuff that I look at. This thing is at the lows. They've actually killed it, and they might kill it even more. But anyway, this is something that's interesting to me right now, and I'm going to take a look at it. And if it starts going up, I might get even more interested. This is kind of tied to Bitcoin, so Bitcoin is is really wild, and it's tough to ride. This is the same kind of thing. But back to ES, I gave you some targets on where I think the market goes. It might hit resistance soon and come back down. If it finds support, it might just keep on going. And if it doesn't, if it hits resistance and it keeps going down, that's something that you got to watch and and try to do the right thing. All right, everybody have a great weekend, and thanks a lot for watching.